Okay, so with this first project of the year, my second year at uni, I learned a lot about rock textures. I've managed to find a rock brush, and I used that on a plane in Blender to make the kind of terrain I liked, and then I attempted to bleach it in Blender. Same bleaching method I've used last year, but a little more improved. So I used that and then built this rig, which my friend keeps telling me looks like a table. It's a rig, just pumps something, but that's a part of a story that I don't really need to go into. What I've learned from this is a way to better do terrain generation, and a way to make a finished product, a finished concept piece for an environment. For that same project, we had some props to build, props and costumes, and I like the costumes quite a bit, but the props needed some work, and I'm definitely going to work on that over the summer, both in 3D and 2D. I want to see what fits, how I can incorporate both techniques. So if I have 3D objects on 2D characters, I need to have the skill to make the 2D characters look good enough that they fit in. For the second project, I made a drill, and I like the materials I've got around it. I took some cubes, stretched them out, and sculpted it, and they look quite good. When I rendered the actual thing, I added this freestyle effect in Blender, and I'm now figuring out how that works. I've used it again in this next project, but I like the effect it has here. It's very toony, kind of a bit comic-y. It especially helps in the bleaching process, which I didn't do for this project, but I like the way it looks. I learned something from that. For this project, the more recent one, we did it in the past month or so. It helped me figure out that I can just use a lot more simple shapes in a 3D render in a room. I like making rooms. We established this in the last video, and I figured out a more simple way to do it. And the simpler I have it, the easier it is to take into Photoshop and bleach it. After bleaching it, this is what I ended up with. I had drawn over the top of the more simple shapes and made it look more like a hospital room, like it's supposed to, even though in the story it is a fake hospital room. Now the script elaborates on this more. I won't be adding this to the video because it is 2 pages of pure text. Now for this project there are only 2 characters, and they don't get shown much, only at the start and end of the actual one-shot. For this project we were forming a pitch to present to a company of our choice in the hopes of training us to know how to get a job in our industry. Now I'd like to go into comics because I prefer storytelling to concept art, and of course concept art does come into it, but my end goal isn't just a concept art. I would like to tell my stories as a comic and eventually print something. I would love to print my own comic, and that is something I would like to do in the next year. Now for this project we had to do some thumbnails, pick one of those and make a page out of it, a cover for the comic, and a character sheet, just to help pitch the idea of your comic to your publisher of choice and present a good idea of what you would be making them. This is my cover. I like it. I think I named that fellow Bruce a while ago. He's on my wall. I've got a poster of him. Now Blink is not a working title. I've had that for years, since college. That's what, 4 years? Now, I've had a little look into Image Comics. They are a publisher that are actively looking for new comic artists. Their website's quite interesting. I found a few different comics on that site that are kind of similar to my style, but of course much better, and something to look at, definitely. Here's an example of a cover that I quite like from a comic called The Black Monday Murders. And this is a page from that comic. I quite like the inking style. It's a good art style. It's something that I quite like the look of. I'd make something similar. Probably not as easily. Here's a double panel page from a comic called Gideon Falls. It looks cool, I like it. Further shows that Image Comics put out good stuff. Over the next year at uni, my final year here, I would like to print out this comic as a magazine, or as a thin, maybe 16-page comic, I think it would be. This one-shot is a prologue to this story. It just follows our main character before he starts living out of this apartment. So over the summer I'd like to finish the apartment model. Also with my inking work, I'd like to work more on drawing my fun little designs, whatever else I'd like. Essentially prepare more things for t-shirt designs. I made a few of those these year. I'd like to make more t-shirt designs. It was fun making these, and at some point, if I could make enough of them, I could potentially sell them, instead of just paying out of pocket to give some to friends, which I keep doing. I need to figure out how to battle model 3D props, because I'm not very good at that at the minute. It's not something I'm used to. I'm used to working on interior spaces and rocks for exterior spaces, so I'd like to build some assets in this. I mean, if I can make more... When I say props, actually, I do mean handheld props that I'm not very used to. I can make lamps and desks and things like that. That's not too difficult. Bottles as well. I've done that in a previous project. Yeah, if I've made an entire 3D building, or a 3D apartment, it could prove useful in a portfolio. Have you heard of Smiling Friends? One guy, voice of, I think his name's Zach. Zach from Only Plays. Funny guy. Tells good stories. A 3D artist I like, actually. I don't remember his name exactly, but he made a video called 2 Pipes. It's a good video. He made some work for that project. He made some work for season 2 of Smiling Friends. It's quite good, I like it.